Hello and welcome back to the Gypsy Bird Makes podcast. I'm Bethany and this isn't a podcast, but it's kind of an update on life and the changes that have happened since the last time I spoke with you. You may notice that we are in a different area, a different place, but we've had a lot of changes since January when I filmed my first podcast and Vlogmas, which was in December. So I kind of wanted to do this in between episode or whatever it may be to let you guys kind of see what we've been up to, what has kept me away from YouTube and from posting on Instagram as much. So yeah, that's what this is about. In November of 2021, we decided that we wanted to sell our tiny house. We've loved living in the tiny house so much. We designed it and had it built in 2018 and have lived in it constantly since then. We've moved across the country with it and just had so many great memories and have loved the tiny house movement. But it's time for a change, and we were kind of excited to move on to something that's going to have a little more space for us and just have a change of scenery. But before we could put the tiny house on the market, we had some odds and ends that needed to be done to the house and repainting and all that type of stuff. So you will have seen a lot of that in Vlogmas if you followed us along during that time. So November and most of all December was filled with repairs, little tweaks here and there, just getting it ready to sell. So we weren't really sure what was going to happen. We didn't know, like the tiny house market, who knows what that is? I didn't know what it was, and I lived in a tiny house. So we spoke with our builders and found out like what they would suggest that we do, how they would suggest we go about it. And we were so grateful for them and them giving us the advice that they gave us, which was really, really helpful. And then when we finally put it on the market, it was about mid-January. I don't remember the date right now, but it was mid-January, and we made like flyers, and we're gonna have an open house and all this different type stuff. And I posted it on Facebook, Craigslist, and a tiny house website that is for selling them. It's not super popular, but it was worth a shot. So I listed it on there on a Friday night late. We had inquiries Saturday and Sunday, and we live just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina right now, and we had a freak snow winter ice storm that happened on Saturday, so that kept people from coming to see the house that weekend. But that Monday, after the Friday that we had listed it, we had about 3 people that were supposed to come look at the house, and the first person who came offered a cash offer, said he would take it in a week, and we said yes. So we went from about 2.5 days of being on the market in needing a new house pretty quickly. So that started the craziness that is the last month and a half. It's been wild. So we confirmed on Monday that this guy was going to buy the house. He paid us on Tuesday, and then we had until Sunday to get out. Mind you, I hadn't packed anything in the house. We had a storage unit of things that we had taken out of the house to kind of make it look less cluttered and things, but for the most part, we didn't have anything packed at all, which really didn't concern me because we've moved a lot before we had the tiny house, and I've packed a lot of houses up, so I wasn't too concerned with that, but it was still a little crazy. So when we decided we were going to sell the tiny house, we wanted to get a Class A, which is one of those really big tour bus looking type campers. We wanted one that we could all ride together in and not have to tow something like a bumper pool like the tiny was, because it was kind of stressful to tow the tiny. It was about 20,000 pounds and it was massive. So going like through the mountains of North Carolina or the mountains of California or the plains of North Dakota or South Dakota with the winds wasn't fun at all. So we wanted something like that. So we spent the next couple days after selling the house going to Camping World and different places like that looking for a Class A. We found one that we really liked and decided we wanted to try to get that one, and then found out that we couldn't afford one that we were wanting. So we were like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? Because we had so much cash and we were gonna need a loan also. But yeah, anyways, it was a mess and it was crazy. So we were hoping to take things from the tiny house directly into the new RV. So we were kind of rushing around trying to get things settled and done and not have to go to like an Airbnb or anything like that, or not have to pack everything, really just kind of walk it from one space to the other. But spoiler alert, that didn't happen. Long story short, we ended up going the fifth wheel route instead of a Class A. We're still gonna all ride together in one vehicle and just keep the one vehicle for us for now. But when we finally got our heads out of the Class A, wanting that and everything, and looked at the fifth wheel, we were like, wow, there's so much more space in a fifth wheel than there was in a Class A. And it was gonna work a lot better for our family. So we went through and had a whole process of getting the fifth wheel. We found one rather quickly. less than 24 hours from deciding we wanted a fifth wheel. We had found the one that we wanted. And it was a process. We had a lot of issues. So the first, we were there and we were told, if we decide to get this and we're approved and all of that, it'll be 4 hours and you can take it. And I was like, yes, that's awesome. We could get it. We could do this on a Friday. We could have it delivered on the Saturday, and then Sunday I can move everything in and it'll be perfect. Well, that didn't work out. So we had another fun snowstorm that weekend. So we were like, okay, well, maybe it'll be Monday and we'll just stay, like one night in the hotel and it won't be a big deal. And then we'll just move everything. It'll be fine. It was a ridiculous process because the Camping World in Raleigh, we won't be buying from them again. Let me just say that. They were very wishy-washy, very crazy about things. So what we ended up having to do is get a U-Haul van. We packed everything up that was in the tiny house and put it in this U-Haul van. We parked that here at the campground and went to an Airbnb. So we left the U-Haul here because we're staying at the same campground. We were just moving sites. And yeah, basically lived in an Airbnb from Sunday until Thursday night. Or was it Friday? Pretty sure it was Thursday. Yeah, it was Thursday night. So in this process of being at the Airbnb, it was super nice. I didn't really get that much footage of the Airbnb, but I'll put in the dogs playing in the backyard. They had a lot of fun doing that. It was really nice. We were like really close to Brian's work, so he could go to work and be back in no time. We were near a lot of shopping, so I got to go to like the Container Store and Target and things like that and get things for the new fifth wheel that we were going to need. So that was really nice. However, in the very middle of staying at the Airbnb, my middle kiddo tested positive for COVID. So we're trying to move, trying to stay isolated, trying to not do things that we shouldn't be doing. But we had COVID as well, and every one of us over the next week tested positive. So we got to move in to our fifth wheel finally on Thursday after being told multiple days, multiple times, and having a little bit of a nervous breakdown at the Airbnb myself. We finally got here. And it was well worth all the trouble to be in and to finally be here. But yeah, it was an experience. It was a week. The following, the week after was right around February 1st when I was supposed to be filming a podcast, and I was just like, nope, not gonna happen because I don't have any knitting. I literally finished nothing in January, absolutely nothing. I would have had nothing to show either way. So it was an experience. I'm used to moving a lot. We've moved, let's see, how many times have we moved? We've moved 13 times since 2014 or something like that. And I'm used to moving. It's not a big deal to me. But for the past 3.5 years, when I move, it's just like moving the house and you don't actually have to pack everything and do everything. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want to do this again for a long time because it is exhausting. And there was so much uncertainty and so much craziness that, yeah, it was just really crazy. I do have to say that through all of this, through, selling the house, finding this fifth wheel, getting the loan that we needed, having the Airbnb, and just all of it, it was all God's hand for sure. It couldn't have worked out better the way that it did. And I know that's all due to God's planning. And I'm very grateful that it wasn't worse. we all had COVID, but we all had very mild cases of it. It wasn't like any of us were deathly ill or had to go to the hospital or anything. So I feel like that was a really big blessing. We did get the house, the fifth wheel, when we needed it. It may not have been the way I would have preferred it to be, or my plan, but it was definitely God's plan, and I'm very grateful for that, and want to give him all the praise for all of the things falling into place at the right time. So yeah, once we got here, once we actually got in the fifth wheel and got everything unpacked, which happened fairly quickly. My firstborn and thirdborn were also down with COVID. My husband and I were hoping that we had already had it previously and just not known. But that didn't turn out to be the case. We also caught it. So we spent a good 2 solid weeks in the fifth wheel without leaving. And by the end of it, we were very sick of it and wanted to go places. So it was like we couldn't wait to get in, and then we couldn't wait to leave it at the same time. But we've settled in now. We're really enjoying it. We still have some things here and there that we need to get done. Like we need to put some shelving and things in my daughter's room and organize the underbelly a bit, but we're really happy with it so far. We're going to be needing to get a new truck in the next couple months before our next assignment. So we would definitely appreciate some prayers that God would bring us to the right truck and that we would be able to get the one that we need. I'm someone who fully believes that God has a path for you and he's going to provide for you as long as you as long as you trust in him and ask for his guidance. So any prayers would be greatly appreciated on that front, but I'm not worrying about that right now because I need about a month of no stress. So that's what I'm working on. I did get to organize my yarn and figure out where I was going to put all of that, and I'm going to have a little video of that coming out in the next week or so probably. I filmed it right in the middle of, it was like day 3 probably of being in here. So we had 3 sick kids. I was trying to do that, exhausted. So it'll be like a 5-minute video, but it will show you me going through everything. I did get rid of and destash some things. But I think it'll be a fun little video for you guys to see where I got to put it, everything, and I'm happy with where it is and how it's organized and it's all together, which is really nice. So I'm now going to show you a tour of the house, or I keep calling it a house because the tiny house was a house, and this is a camper technically, but I think I'm still just going to call it a house because it's our house. That's what we live in. So I hope you enjoy this tour of our new fifth wheel. It is a Salem Hemisphere. In case you're interested in looking up the layout or anything, I'll have all the info down below of exactly which model it is. If you have any questions about living full-time as a travel nurse, as my husband is, or in a tiny house or a camper, or just about anything in our lives at all, feel free to leave the comments down below and I'd be happy to answer those for you. And I will see you in just over a week or so for episode 2 of the Gypsy Bird podcast. Welcome to our fifth wheel. Let's go on a tour. Here we are as we come in the door. We have our kitchen over here. We have an actual good sized fridge, which is really nice. Ignore the dogs. They're upset because the kids are going to feed the ducks. They're not going with them. And then we actually have a table, which is really, really exciting for us. We didn't have one in the tiny house, so this is perfect. We love it. And look at all of these windows. I absolutely love all the windows. They're one of my favorite parts of the fifth wheel. We have some good storage. All of my yarn is kept up in these cabinets. We have our fireplace, which is super fun. And then we have a little kitchen. This is the smallest oven and microwave I've ever seen. But it's working so far. And of course, some Krispy Kreme donuts. But look how tiny this oven is. It's tiny. It doesn't fit very much. And then we have a huge pantry behind these two doors, which is really awesome. And we have a little Atticus who's barking for his mama. If we go this way, we have a mid bunk, which is my daughter's room, which is super messy because we haven't finished putting up shelves for her room. But it's a good size, and we're going to be doing something different with her bed because she's not a big fan of that one. But we'll be doing that soon. And then we go up a bit, and the boys have their loft, which they mostly just sleep in, but you can see they have quite a bit of toys up here as well. Yeah, it's really nice. And then move on. Let me turn this fan off. Then we have our bathroom. This is Kit Kat. Say hi, Kit Kat. This bathroom is a lot bigger than the one that we had in the tiny house, so it's really, really nice to have a big shower and a sink that the cats haven't taken over. Yeah, we really like it. And then last is our bedroom. And this is going to be our room. We have a kitty cat. We have our bed that's on a slide. We have fun little windows, which is really nice. We have this huge closet. There's cat litter and stuff back in there. But we leave this part open right here so that they can come in and the cats can go in back and forth. And then we have a window, nice dresser set. And then turn around this way. I got this on Etsy and I really, really love it. I'll link it down below, but all the little push pins are where we have lived as a travel nurse, or as my husband being a travel nurse. And I just love seeing all the different places and how far we've been. And we can't wait to add some more places. So that is our room, and the dogs are taking advantage of being able to be in here. Normally we keep it blocked off so the cats have a space, but yeah, that is our fifth wheel. Monty, stop. Hello and welcome back to the Gypsy Bird Makes podcast. Although this one isn't really a podcast. Oh, this cat. Oh my gosh. Ow. Yes, stop. Okay. We'll take things. Is that right? We realized there were quite a few things that, oh snap. But God had a plan. Okay, can we not do that? Thank you.